everyone, my name is Sarah. I am a knitter here in Buffalo, New York. I live here with my husband and my 2 daughters. My oldest daughter is 8 years old, my younger one is 3, and we are expecting a boy in October of this year, so it's very exciting. I've been a knitter since 2009, and I've done some sewing and things in between that. And I just thought starting a podcast would be really fun. I like to share what I'm doing. What else about me? I'm a stay-at-home mom, an Army veteran, and I also knit with vegan yarn, and I'm on a budget. So it's going to be, fairly inexpensive stuff, all plant-based, some acrylics and things like that too. Back in October, I started quilting, which is a lot of work. Making quilts is a lot of work, but it is fun, and I made a few quilts. I'm still learning what it is that I like about quilt making, so I'll talk about that later when I get to it. But anyway, we're going to start with the knitting. So finished objects. First, I'm going to show, this is my latest finished project. The Coffee House wrap by 2 of Wands. This is extremely easy. This is a beginner project for sure. I didn't even realize how easy it was going to be when I first cast it on. But it was so easy, I didn't have to have the pattern with me. I could take this to the park with the kids and just work on it there and not have to, worry about fancy stitches or counting stitches or anything like that. I used the Michaels brand. I think Michaels brand is Loops and Threads, and it's the creme cotton. It's soft and easy to work with, and it's pretty cheap. But the pattern, I believe, called for Lion brand 24/7 cotton or something like that. I did not use that. I just used the Michaels brand because they had it on sale. So I really like this wrap. This was really fun and easy to do. And it was my second triangle wrap ever. For some reason, I was very intimidated by triangle wraps, but they're really easy. So you should just do one. Just do the Coffee House wrap by 2 of Wands. Very easy. It's fun. Anyway, this was the second triangle wrap that I made. The first triangle wrap was also by 2 of Wands, and I used the Lion brand mandala line. It was the ombre in cool, and I did the Cambria wrap by 2 of Wands, like I said. And the designer is Alexandra Tavel. And this one was also fun. You can't really tell. I like the ombre. It's so big. This one, it felt like it took forever because it was so big, but it's basically like a blanket. It's so soft, nice and cozy for cold mornings. And to be honest, in knitting, I really never tried doing fancy stitches. I was always I'm more of like a color work person. When I tried doing fancy stuff with knitting, I would do cables or color work. And I never tried doing, lace or eyelets or anything like that. So this was a good project. Can't really tell. But there's some eyelets there. There's a striped eyelet. And it just turned out really nice. I like that it sometimes would change color as the stitch changed. Even though in the middle of this, it turned to darker gray. That bothers me a little bit. But overall, I really like it. It was fun to do. I might even knit it again. I messed up in the center though. You can see it looks uneven. At one point, the stitches on one side were outnumbered the stitches on the other side. So I had to sort of fix it. So that was a little annoying, especially because it was so big. There were so many stitches. I had to keep counting them over and over again, I felt like. But overall, it was a really cool, fun pattern. And for free too, so yeah. That is the Cambria wrap by Two of Wands. Next finished project. Okay, I made this a while ago. I actually finished this one a while ago. And it was a purple sweater for my daughter. She wanted a purple sweater, and at Michael's on clearance was the Karen Cloud Cake yarn, and it's very, very, very soft. And she liked this purple, so I made a little sweater, and she really likes it, and I'm very happy she likes it. I don't know if any other moms can relate, but you know, you make stuff for people, they don't really care. You make dinner, they don't really care. So when she liked this sweater so much and wore it so often, I was really happy. The cloud cakes, it's like this huge, huge cake, and it is super, super soft. It's like chenille kind of, and she's already actually worn it a few times and it's kind of pilling a little bit. I literally just threw this in the washer and dryer several times so far, and you can tell it's been a little bit washed and dried, but it's holding up really well. And that pattern was, it was kind of a combination. There was an initial sweater pattern I used that I started just the neck, and then I realized that this was not the pattern I wanted to use, so I switched. And I think I ended up using a Happy Stripes by Drops for the rest of the pattern. But I shortened it and I did not create the balloon sleeves, so I just did a straight sleeve. So it's kind of a mishmash of different patterns. Next finished object is this sweater, and I don't know how I feel about it. I bought cheap acrylic yarn to do this project because I just wasn't sure how it was going to turn out. This was a paid pattern by Megan Reagan, Bad Wolf Girl Designs, and it's the Fall Favorites collection. And you get with that pattern a bunch of charts. It's like 5 or 6 different fall themed charts. And I like the charts a lot. I think they're really cute. It was the shape of the sweater that I wasn't sure about. And this one that I did was mostly ghostly. I think it's so funny. Okay, so my absolute dream sweater is by James Kilpatrick or something. It was on a TikTok. Do you remember? It was like in 2020. It was someone on a skateboard holding a cup of coffee, and they had like a giant jack-o'-lantern pumpkin just on their head, and they were skateboarding, and they had this like pumpkin sweater. I really want that sweater, but it is wool, and so I'm not going to buy it because I do knit vegan, but I wanted to make it, so I might have to try and make that pattern, like dupe it, but I wanted to see how these patterns would go because they're similar, cute Halloween patterns. Now the sleeves fit nicely, but then it becomes very wide under the arm when I put it on. And also, I don't know what happened. I tried it on, and I think I'm just afraid of knitting sweaters that are too small because this is huge. It's like so big that even as, okay, I'm due in October 25th, right? So I'm gonna need a maternity sweater, really, if I want to wear a Halloween sweater. So I can wear it as a maternity sweater, but I'm pretty sure it's still gonna be huge. I don't know, like really, really big. It's like a tent. Let me just show you how big this is. Okay, arms fit really good. The arms, this part seemed to be the same with most sizes of the sweater. And see, so it looks fine, right? Like I tried it on, it looks fine. Oh, you can see my notes now. I mean, it looks fine, but then it's like huge in the back. I don't know. And I suppose when my belly's out a little more, it'll be fine. But like, okay. So I can wear it and I think it looks cute. It's just so big. I could definitely size down probably twice, I guess. I mean, this was a large. So I think I could do a small. Let's see, it's a little bigger here than I would like. It's not that it's too big, it's just that this gets so much smaller and is fairly tight around my arm. Not tight, but it's fitted on my lower arm here, it's fitted on my forearm, and it's just much looser here. I mean, I'm cool with a big, cozy, oversized sweater. I'm not sure about this one. I'll still wear it since it will basically be a maternity sweater. But after that, I'm definitely gonna knit the pattern again. Just different size and different yarn. I think I want the yarn to be a little bit more heathered. Yeah, this was actually knit with the Amigo hobby yarn. It's very inexpensive, and I had to buy a lot of skeins of this orange, and I can see why, because I knitted probably 2 sizes too big. I was wondering why it was taking so long. It took me like a month and a half, and not even the yoke, it was just the body was so long. Anyways, so that was the Mostly Ghostly sweater by Megan Reagan of Bad Wolf Girl Designs, or Bad Wolf Girl Studios, sorry. Let's see. That's it for the finished knitting stuff. Now for quilts. So I have one quilt here that I made. It's baby size quilt. I literally woke up one day and was just like, I want to make a jelly roll quilt right now. And so I took this jelly roll that I had, and I did, which way does it go? Oh, this is the top technically. It was a Kona jelly roll, like rainbow. I think it was called like sugar something. Just different rainbow colors, and I did a jelly roll jam pattern, and it took me just like one day to do the top. And then I went out and I got this unicorn back, and then I just did a squiggly quilting pattern. So just random squiggles this way and then random squiggles that way. And it was really fun and easy to make. So that was a baby size quilt. And several months ago, I actually made this quilt, and I could not tell you what the fabric collection was. I'll have to try and write it on the screen. I can't remember. But This was my second ever quilt. The first one I did, it was just square patchwork. It was a Halloween design, which I'm not gonna go in the, I'm not gonna go get it. But this one I did like a faux flying geese kind of pattern. And the fabric collection is really cute. It's got like gingham. It's very spring, summer kind of quilts. And this was fun to make. The backing is just a simple, it's got like tiny little dots. And I had a binding with just the same tiny little dot pattern. And this is probably a good throw size quilt. And the quilting I did on here was super simple too. I don't know if you can tell, but it's just like two lines, just in a grid. And I think that's what I'm gonna have to stick with in the future. It's just straight line quilting patterns. And that one did not require any type of pattern. I just had some charm packs, made half square triangles and put it together in a pattern. I'm still trying to figure out what my favorite kind of quilting style is. I am finding that I don't particularly like following written out patterns. I think it's like very tedious and I get tired of it. Actually, with that, I'll start on whips. So I have here, I'll start with the quilting whip. This was a pattern. This is just a quilt top. I finished the top and the pattern is called Sharon's Stars by Sharon Parcell. It was in Quilt Maker magazine, the September-October 2021 issue. And I used a Joanne fabric astrology kind of pattern. And you probably couldn't see the whole thing, whatever. I don't like how the patterns went together to make the stars. I don't know. I also, when I made the big stars, like it's going to pucker if I try and quilt it. So I kind of just made the quilt top, finished it, and I left it. I even bought backing for it. I just don't know if I'm gonna like it. I should probably just finish it and whatever, if I don't like it, who cares? All really I have to buy is just the batting. And if I go to Walmart and buy something inexpensive, then I'll have a finished quilt. It may not be my favorite. I'm just not motivated to do it right now. Especially because I know there's going to be puckering. That was my very first foray into quilted patterns, like written out patterns. And it was a lot of work. There's a lot of just cutting out tiny little bits. And then I would get the numbers of all the colors wrong. And, you know, I'd end up with not enough little squares here and too many little squares there. And I don't know, it was kind of tedious. So that was the Sharon Stars pattern, quilt top, work in progress. Might just sit there forever. I don't know. But anyway, back to knitting. Knitting whips. So I knit this sock. It's sort of a vanilla pattern. And then I added just my own stripes. This strawberry chart. Ooh, can I cover up my face? Yeah. This strawberry chart came from a Pinterest chart that I found by Marianne Ann. There's cute little flowers on top of here too if you go with the original chart, but I just used the little strawberries. This was knit with Cascade Heritage in pink. I think it's a merino. I have had this yarn in my stash for over 10 years probably. So it was long before I ever went vegan. So I'm just trying to use up some of the yarns that I do have in my stash, regardless of what they're made of. But that's that sock. And I'm just working on getting the other one done. Just I have one sock syndrome. Like, I started it to make sure I got it cast on, but then once I got to the part where I was supposed to start knitting the chart, I just stopped and it was just sitting around forever. This is the second pair of socks that I have ever tried knitting, and this is the first colorwork sock. This first sock like barely fits on my foot because of the negative ease and the floats they made it too tight. So I don't know if I'm going to be doing many colorwork socks from now on. I'm just going to try and finish this one and then maybe just look up tips on how to do colorwork socks without making them too tight. Yeah. So that was the only issue with that, aside from one sock syndrome. Next for whips, I have, well, does this count as a new cast on? I decided to try a petite knit pattern, and I chose the Novice Cardigan, and that is as far as I've gotten with it. I started it a while ago with the faux mo. So it's faux mohair by Lion Brand. It's actually pretty soft. I'm really excited about trying it. But I kind of just left it. Like, I started it and then just wasn't interested or inspired by it anymore, and so I just left it. I'm going to do it though. I'm going to motivate myself. I like this color a lot. Here it is, the faux mo. Lion Brand. This is in the color Spice. And it is viscose, acrylic, and nylon. And it's actually on clearance at Joann's right now. I wanted to buy the gray, but I didn't do it. I did not do it. I'm going to really try to use what is left of my stash, because like I said earlier, I've had yarn sitting around for 10 plus years that I haven't used. I got rid of a bunch of things that have been sitting there that were kind of, you know, cheap acrylic or just something I wasn't going to use anymore, not my style anymore. But I still have a bunch of yarns that I do want to use. So I'm going to try to not buy a bunch of new yarns. Anyway, okay, last whip. So I'm due October 25th, and I have not knit anything for the baby. I didn't knit anything for either one of my other kids either. I sewed a few things. I crocheted some toys, but I really didn't do any clothing. And I still am not so sure I want to do a whole bunch of clothes. Not for newborns anyway. I'm a diaper mom, right? Like, they spit up on their clothes, you take it off, you put on new clothes, they spit up immediately again. Just put them in a diaper and put them in a swaddle. That's what I do. I don't know. So I decided to try a 3-month sweater. And I was really inspired by this pattern by, let's see, it's called Skift by Jessica McDonald. And it's a really cute, like, Norwegian style sweater. And this is going to be like the 3-month size, I think, because it'll still be cold when he's 3 months old. Can you see it? Can we cover my face? There we go. So this is just part of the yoke. And it's this Norwegian style design, and I'm really excited about it. I think it'll be really cute. I'm using this Lion Brand. Lion Brand feels like heaven. And I'm really happy with this yarn. It is very soft, and it's got this heathered texture to it. And I actually was a little worried about this beige color because I thought it looked too gray, but actually it's like a really nice color for a black and white color work sweater. I think it looks it doesn't look too brand new. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't look like stark white, black. It's just a charcoal. The black is actually charcoal, and it's a heathered dark gray. And then the beige really looks like kind of a used white, you know? Last whip. It is another quilt whip. And this one is a gift, which I really have to finish soon before she has the baby. But it is a very simple modern style quilt, herringbone pattern. I think my friend's nursery colors are gray and pink, and so I did the gray and pink. I have to finish the quilting. I'm not super happy with this scalloped pattern that I chose. It reminds me of a mermaid, and I didn't even think of that until I was halfway done. But I'm just gonna keep going with it. The theme on the back pattern is Belle, Beauty and the Beast. Now, for future projects that I'm hoping to do, I really want to do this wipeout quilt pattern. It came with the March Sew Sampler box. Yeah, the March Sew Sampler box. I'm trying to look to see what it's called. But it's this mermaid themed quilt. And I said I'm not big on patterns, but this is actually a paper piecing pattern, or foundation paper piecing. It came with all these things for the snail trail, which kind of looks like a wave. And it comes with the Sea and Me by Moda. And it's got little mermaids all over it, and like sea theme, underwater theme. And my 2-year-old, soon to be 3-year-old, likes mermaids. So I'm gonna try and make that. I think that would be fun. Future knitting projects. Okay, I actually saw this sweater. It's called Halibut by Caitlin Hunter. I used to live in Alaska. When I was in the Army, I lived in Alaska. I was primarily stationed there. And it's a cool place. It's so cold. But it's a really cool place. And she lives in Alaska, this knit designer, and she makes me miss Alaska. Like, her patterns are so cool, and it's, cover my face, there we go. It's got this fish pattern on it. It looks so cool. I really want to try it. And actually, I want to use this yarn for it. The same one that I'm doing the Skift pattern in. Okay, I went and grabbed one of the new yarns that I had purchased. I really enjoyed the cloud cake, the purple cloud cake. I still have 2 skeins of it. But this was on clearance at Michael's. This cloud cake with this, I think it's called lobster claw or something. But it's got these like fun fall colors, and I really want to use this. It's so soft. I had to get it. I have 2 skeins of this, and I'm thinking I want to try the Campfire Cozy, like another wrap, which is a really simple, a really simple wrap. It's just got garter stitch, looks like some moss stitch on it. I should probably just put the picture on the screen. What am I doing? But I think it would be so cozy to have this cool little stripes for a fall kind of wrap around the campfire. I think that would be really fun. I'm a fall person, by the way. I know it's like we're about to be into summer and I should be doing summer knits, and I'm just thinking about Halloween and campfire wraps. Now, here are 2 thrift store quilting books. So thrift stores, if you like vintage quilts, go to a thrift store because you will find a lot of quilting books. And this one I thought was really cool. It's got some patterns for these vintage quilts. I really love this blue one right here. Ooh. It's got some patterns. A lot of it's like old, kind of dated, like this. Yeah, no. Nobody's gonna be making that. But you know, it was cheap to buy this. It's about vintage quilts. I think it's pretty cool. I also found this Better Homes and Gardens 501 quilt blocks. And it's got a whole treasury of patterns, it says. And it does have a lot of like fun, you know, it doesn't tell you exactly how to make all of them. It's just general. So we got the Lone Star pattern, nice, classic quilt blocks that you can just put together and do a whole sampler quilt maybe one day. Again, cheap like thrift store books. But I did spend some money on this knit book. Selbu patterns. I really wanted a Norwegian pattern book. My great grandmother was Norwegian. She immigrated to the United States from Norway. And so I kind of wanted to learn Norwegian knitting. And this book just has tons and tons of charts, and it's got socks. It has a few basic patterns for cardigans, women's cardigan, men's sweater, socks, and I believe mittens. The only sweater pattern for women is a cropped cardigan. I kind of want to do a cardigan, not a cropped cardigan. So I might try and meld a cardigan pattern with some of the charts that are in here. I'll see though. Let me get my little wrap back on before I say goodbye. So thank you guys for watching. That's everything I have so far. Hopefully I'll come back maybe next month or in a few weeks with another podcast, depending on how much stuff I get done. So thank you so much for watching. I look forward to watching everybody else's podcasts. So I guess I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.